Hello! Today, Handsome Nation, we embark on an experiment. Dr. Fauci ain't got nothing on this. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, this video today is brought to you by a fellow Handsome Nation subscriber that had a question/statement stating that an SSD is quicker than a hard drive. That is correct. However, that got me thinking, because a hard drive is a lot less expensive than an SSD, and you get a lot more bang for your buck. The thing is, both of these are about the same price. The difference is, this is 4 terabytes and this is 500 gigabytes. 4 terabytes, 500 gigabytes. 4 terabytes, 500 gigabytes. Huge discrepancy. But is there a big discrepancy in speed? I wanted to find out. Now on paper, the hard drive can write up to 140 megabytes per second, which really isn't that good. Whereas this SSD can write up to 1050 megabytes per second. Much better. But in this case study, with your expandable storage for your Xbox Series S or Series X, with both of these drives, they're external drives, and you cannot play any next generation games that are optimized for the Series X or S directly off these drives. However, you can play previous generation games directly off these drives. So since in this case, it really doesn't matter where you store your previous generation games, I wanted to find out, is the SSD far superior in transferring data from the internal SSD to the external SSD? Or is it just a hair bit faster than transferring data from the internal SSD to the external hard drive on the Seagate? Because really, the external hard drive is going to be the best bang for your buck. But let's test out the speeds and see what we're really working with. So to do that, let's jump on the Xbox. So the first game we're going to transfer is going to be Hitman 3. Alright, so as you can see, the game is 61.8 gigabytes and is currently on the internal SSD. So let's transfer it to the external Samsung T7 SSD. So let's do that in 3, 2, 1. Alright, so that took roughly about 4 minutes and 46 seconds. Now let's transfer it from the external SSD back to the internal SSD and see what we get. Alright, here we go in 3, 2, 1. Alright, so that's a little bit of a shocker. That took about 4 minutes and 2 seconds, so it did shave some time. And I don't know if that's because the Xbox is now warmed up and now it's ready to transfer and receive data quicker. I don't know, it's kind of interesting. But now let's do the same thing to the external Seagate Game Drive. Okay, so I'm going to switch it here from internal to the hard drive. I'm going to select all, and we're going to move selected in 3, 2, 1. Alright, Hitman just finished, and it took twice as long and then some at 10 minutes and 49 seconds. Ouch. I mean, honestly, I didn't know it was going to be that bad, but then again, 60 gigabytes of data transferred in about 10 minutes? Alright, by now you probably know the drill. We're going to transfer the data from the external hard drive to the internal SSD. Select all again. And we're gonna move it in 3, 2, 1. Alright, Hitman 3 is back on the internal SSD. I don't know where the thumbnail went, but it's back. And just like when it was transferred from the external SSD to the internal SSD, same thing here. The speeds were quicker for whatever reason. Now I'm sure there's some scientific reason as to why data transfer speeds are quicker going from an external device to an internal device rather than an internal device to an external device, but whatever it is, it's quite interesting. As with this transfer, we're getting 8 minutes and 54 seconds. So still longer than the SSD, but not as bad. Now Hitman is a next generation game, so it is optimized for Series X and S, but let's see if there's any difference with the previous generation game. Let's try a smaller game. Let's do Unravel, which is a game that I truly love. If you haven't played it or checked it out, it is available on Game Pass. Get it right now. It is such a cool and interesting game. So you guys know the drill. Here's the game, 3.1 gigabytes of data. It is currently installed on the internal SSD. We're going to move it. Let's transfer it from the internal SSD to the external Samsung drive. In 3, 2, 1. Oh wow, that took 12 seconds. Wow. It didn't even have time to see, how long it's gonna take to transfer the data. That's pretty awesome. Now let's transfer it back to the internal SSD. All right, so here we go, transferring it from the external Samsung drive to the internal SSD. We'll do that in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the stopwatch says about 13 seconds, but give or take, my response time and all that stuff, it's roughly about the same time. So that would bring me to believe that it takes a lot of data in order to make a huge difference as far as, transferring it from the internal SSD to the external SSD and back from the external SSD to the internal SSD. So now let's do it to the external hard drive. All right, we have it already in 3, 2, 1. Okay, and there we have it. So it'll be about 33 seconds or so, which still isn't bad at all. Yes, it's twice as long as the SSD, but come on, 33 seconds? Now let's transfer it back. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it did shave off a few seconds. We're at 26 seconds transferring from the external hard drive to the internal SSD. So in that aspect, it did help, just like it did previously. But for whatever reason, the SSD to SSD with that small amount of data, it didn't really make that much of a difference. But yeah, that's interesting, an interesting find, if you know what I mean. So now let's get back to the desk so we can talk about the results. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps up the science experiment, and we got some interesting results. So yes, the SSD is a quicker device than the external game drive. But in this case, having it as an external drive for your Xbox Series X or S, does it really matter? Well, I mean, that's really up for you to decide, but in my book, I'm sticking with the external hard drive just because it's the best bang for your buck. Yes, transfer speeds are going to be slower. Yes, it might take a little bit longer for you to transfer data from the internal SSD to the external hard drive. But then again, it's not night or day. It's not like make or break. It's not deal or no deal. It's really, just be a few minutes, wait a few minutes longer, and that's it, But what do you guys think? In this case scenario, if the SSD is worth buying, or should you stick with the game drive? Let me know down in the comments below. I would like to hear what you guys think. So if you're ready to buy or would like more information on anything you see here, leave a comment down below or click the link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to make sure you're in the loop for all things handsome gadgets. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up before you leave, as it definitely helps out the channel quite a bit. Thank you and have a good one.